We're going to take a pause on this for just a second. We're going to bring in Donald Trump Jr., who is on the phone right now because we have a chance to speak with him. He's just outside the courthouse, outside the court here on a break. Don, if you can hear me, I just wanted to get your response to what we've heard just the last couple hours from the closing arguments.
Well, I think they were just trying to run out the clock. Luckily, we're going to probably get to finish the arguments tonight from the prosecution. Yeah. They wanted to try to drag it out so they can go regroup, come up with all sorts of new schemes and plans tomorrow to confuse the jury. That's basically what's been going on all day. Just a lot of nonsense trying to bolster the character of Michael Cohen. But I think that Todd Blanche actually summed it up perfectly when he said that Michael Cohen is like the epitome of doubt. He is, he is the guy that has lied to everyone. He's lied to his wife. He's lied to his bankers. He's lied to Congress, every branch of government. He's lied to the media. There's not a single person he hasn't lied to, including this very jury. So we've had, 5 hours of retort trying to build up the character of Michael Cohen. All of a sudden now, magically, he's never told the truth to anyone before, Rob. Never once, but magically now he's seeing the light and he gets it. I mean, it's absolute insanity, but no, it's designed to confuse the jury.
They've really, the judge has certainly done his part in trying to create the perfect environment for a conviction. We saw today, CBS reporting the Secret Service has met with New York jail officials in anticipation of a guilty verdict, talking about what the plan would be, even bringing up the idea of sending your father to Rikers Island. Can he still escape a verdict, even with what the judge has done here?
I mean, based on what I've seen and the time that I've spent in the court, I mean, if we object to anything, it's almost always overruled, almost without question. Right. They've just given this prosecution, this sham prosecution, any possible benefit of the doubt. And honestly, if you've been watching from the outside, and we've been talking about it being a political persecution from moment number one, Joe Biden does a rally in front of the courthouse today. They bring in Robert De Niro because apparently he's lost his mind, and he's the only person left of the A-list that used to support Joe Biden. They used to line up one by one in 2020 to support him. Now The Rock, Cardi B, all these other people start disavowing because they understand his policies are a disaster. Robert De Niro must be desperate, and he's the only one left actually doing it. But if you didn't think it was a political persecution before, Biden is having a rally outside of the courthouse. Right. Makes you wonder. Then you combine that with the fact that Matthew Colangelo, Joe Biden's number 3 person in his Department of Justice, Department of Justice, magically moves to New York after Alvin Bragg's own office decided not to prosecute this years ago, and all of a sudden they're prosecuting it. It's magical. It's magical. We're not allowed to have our Federal Election Commission expert, the guy who drafted some of these laws and worked it. He's not allowed to testify that this wasn't nonsense because they want to say that, well, Michael Cohen went to jail for FEC violations when we told him all along that wasn't something that he did. He did all sorts of shady stuff with his banking and his this and his that. But he did something he actually wasn't guilty of so that they could use it against Donald Trump. Like everything else, it has been a total setup and a total sham prosecution.
Well, what about Mershon saying that the predicate crime, which is what is going to elevate this ridiculous case to a felony, that the jury doesn't have to agree on what exactly the predicate crime is, that some could agree it's one thing, some could think maybe it's another, which goes specifically against the what the Supreme Court decided.
They haven't even decided what that is yet, I don't think. I've sat there, I've read the transcripts, I follow it day by day, and it's like they're hoping they can figure it out all along, and then they'll just come up with whatever it is they need to get a conviction. I mean, it's that ridiculous at this point. I mean, this is the stuff of, Stalinist Russia. This is the stuff that would make Mao blush. Yeah. It continues to happen, but it's happening right now in America. I mean, this is a terrible precedent. When you can go after a former president of the United States with a guy who's literally went to jail for lying. Lied before, again, this very jury, lied before every branch of Congress, lied to the press, lied to his bankers, lied to his own wife about everything that was going on. And now magically we're told
he's telling the truth.
A very sympathetic character. He's someone to be trusted. I mean, it's absolute insanity. Yet, when you have a judge who's, just working for the defense, his daughter's one of the biggest fundraisers in the Democrat Party. She directly benefits from that. You'd think that'd be a conflict of interest, and it would be if we still actually lived in a democracy, but we don't. Our republic is broken.
I couldn't agree more with everything you're saying. Are you predicting a hung jury tomorrow? What do you think will happen?
I mean, listen, if there's any objectivity whatsoever, if there's anything, this thing should be over. But this was done in New York, and it was brought up years later, and it's done in an area where, it's 95% radical leftists. That you can only throw so many people off a jury when you're doing a jury pool, so it's probably 100% leftist. And guess what? Even if they follow the law, and even if they know what it is, they're going to sit there and be like, man, can I take my kids to school ever again? Right. Can I go to dinner? When the media does their thing, and they're complicit in all of this, obviously, when they dox them and they're running around there and following them and saying, I can't believe you're the person that let Trump go or let the jury go hung. The social consequence of that is a very real component of this. And make no mistake, the prosecution knows that and is more than happy to play that, because that's far more important than the law. Because if they actually cared about their law, if they actually cared about justice, if justice was still blind in America, we wouldn't even be wasting our time here for the last 5 weeks. But again, it was a political persecution. It's designed to stop Donald Trump from being on the campaign trail. Joe Biden hiding in a basement is a positive thing. Donald Trump being stuck in a courtroom where he can't be talking to the people is a negative for him. They understand that. If he can't be talking to the people, talking about the disasters of this world, that's a negative. Joe Biden talking to the people is a negative for Joe Biden because he can't get through a basic sentence without stumbling all over himself.
It's just, it's so pathetic. And meanwhile, they're about to throw Hunter on trial. And let's be honest, Hunter's really not on trial. This is going to be a trial about the actions of Joe Biden. And Hunter was just the complicit bag man, just the dumb kid that went along with Dad's plan. And I think we all know that.
Yeah, but you know what? If it was me, I'd have been in jail by now. Don't forget, I did. This time into my father's presidency, I had done 50 hours of congressional testimony. 50 hours for something that was nothing. I didn't make millions. I wasn't profiteering from China like Hunter. I wasn't getting six-figure gigs for a month for no-show jobs in Ukraine. I mean, there's not an enemy of America that I'm aware of, I don't think, that wasn't paying Hunter Biden to do nothing. There's a little bit of a difference. I did 50 hours for Russia. He shows up for a couple minutes for some congressional testimony. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's absolutely disgusting what's happening to our country. And people have to understand that. They have to wake up and realize what is going on. Because this doesn't stop with Donald Trump. It's like, he's out of the way now. We're going to go back to normal. No. We are setting a very real and a very dangerous precedent for what's going on in our country.
That's exactly right. Don Jr., we thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll follow what happens here. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.